The Art of Flounder Fishing with Captain Jimmy Price, rated #1 in the area. This tournament champion and highly sought-after guide fisherman will show you the proper baits, locations, and techniques for catching flounder. Before we head out to do some fishing, we're going to head in to Captain Jimmy Price's shop, where he starts to reveal some of his tried and true techniques for catching flounder.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Captain Jimmy Price, guide fisherman out of Southport, North Carolina, and I'm here today to show you how to use artificial baits for catching flounder. And that's one of my pride and joys is artificial baits and light tackle. All right, just to show you where I'm coming from before we get into prepping baits and showing you these artificial baits that'll work, first of all, I'm gonna reach right over here to my side and I'm gonna grab a fish that I caught up under the Oak Island Bridge last June using 6-pound test ultralight rod, 3/8 ounce bucktail with a strip of shark belly on it. All right, this I had mounted is a 13-pound, 2-ounce flounder caught up under the Oak Island Bridge in the waterway. All right, I was using an ultralight rod, 6-pound test line, silver thread, with a 3/8 ounce bucktail of this size right here, with a strip of shark belly on it, and bounce him along the bottom. When he slapped it, it took me a good little bit to get him into the boat. I was very proud of him. I couldn't wait to catch another fish. I just fired the engine up. I come on in because I wanted to put him on the scales to see what he weighed. And 13-pound, 2-ounce, I was real proud of him, especially on 6-pound test line. But light tackle is the way to go. I'm gonna lay him aside right here because I've seen a lot of people go out there with heavy tackle, heavy gear, and hook a fish and immediately see how fast they can get him into the boat on this big line, heavy tackle. A lot of people, you know, they wait 6 months to get down here once, twice a year to the coast, and they use this heavy tackle catching these fish. They take all the sport out of it. You don't know what that fish's capabilities are until you start using light tackle. Right behind me here, I've got a rod, which is a Shimano rod and a Shimano reel, Aerostar. And you see I've got a bucktail. Now I've got a 5/8 ounce tied on this one for a little bit deeper water fishing. What we do, we're gonna show you how we cut and fillet a little shark, cut our strips out of it, and prepare our bait to get ready for our next outing. And we're going to show you how these bucktails should be performed, how they should be used, and the proper way to using them. We're also going to show you some other artificial baits, such as cohos, sassy shads. All these is real good baits on flounder fishing at some point given time. It ain't every day you're going to go out there and catch fish, but the fish is cooperating and biting. It don't matter if it's live bait. Artificial bait will work just as well. Most given times when the live bait is working, if the fish is feeding, then the artificial bait will work just as well. And I'm an artificial bait man. I do a lot of live bait fishing, and we'll probably do some live bait fishing in the process of putting this video together. But right now, what I'm going to show you is the artificial way of catching flounder. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put some meat, some squid and shark right up here on my cutting table, and I'm going to show you how to prepare this bait and get ready for a trip out on the water. So I'm going to reach right down here in my bucket, pick up a piece of squid, and if you'll notice, all right, what you're going to see here, the little tentacles hanging down from this little piece of squid here. Now normally that's a real good bait to use some points in time, but we don't use it. We throw it right back in the bucket there. All right, what you're going to see is these little ears on this squid. What we're going to do, we're going to break these ears off. And the purpose of that, when we break these ears off, it makes the bait easy for cleaning purposes. You break that off, and that just pulls that skin right off of there. You take the dark color out of the bait. You just reach up there, and you take it all out. You got a pretty piece of clear bait. Gonna drop that right there in the bucket. And what we do then, we'll lay this on the cutting board. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut about a quarter of an inch, eighth of an inch, quarter inch, right off the bottom of this bait. Throw it into the bucket. All right, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our knife, stick right up in that squid, and open him right up. Out to the point. We're gonna flip him over, take all his membrane out. All right, we're gonna lay that down on the cutting table. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut little strips out of him. Approximately a half an inch in width, and come right down to a little point. So therefore, you're gonna be able to produce strips of bait such as that. This is what we use on our bucktails. Occasionally we use them on our sassy shads and occasionally on our coho baits. But this is a prime bait to use on a bucktail. All right, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna take this piece of squid, we're gonna take the knife, go about halfway up, hit him in the middle, split him right down through the tail. And then you can see there what we've done to the bait. In a lot of cases, when you put this on a bucktail, you get an extra little flutter because you got them two pieces of meat doing that right there. All right, what we're going to do here, we're going to hook this piece of squid on this bucktail. And we're going to go down here just about a quarter of an inch, stick the hook in, come out. That's what we've got. Therefore, that bait can hang down properly. When you're bouncing that bait through the water, you're going to get a real good action out of it and hopefully going to attract some fish. Okay, next what we're going to do, we're going to take this little sand shark I've got here. We're going to lay him on our cutting board, and then we're going to fillet him out. We're going to cut him. Now this is one of my prime and favorite baits. The good thing about the shark is it'll stay with you all day. Turn it right over. All right, we're going to cut that little old fin off right there. Shark's tough, good tough bait. Just going to cut it in half. We're looking at approximately 4 inches in width. All right, what we're going to do here, we're just going to take this. This is way too wide for using on a bucktail. What you'll find out, if you get too wide with your bait and you hook him, bringing him back through the water is going to have a tendency to twist and turn with you due to the width being too wide. So what we're going to do to make a perfect bait, we're going to split him right down through the middle. Oh, I'll get him right here in a minute. And that's what we're looking for right there. Just little strips. Quarter, no more than a half inch in width, approximately 4 inches long. And there again, what we'll do, we'll take the same bucktail that we put the squid on. Say the squid's not producing as well as it should be producing. We pick right up. It don't matter whether it's the dark meat or the light meat. What we do, we drop in there approximately a quarter of an inch and hook the shark belly on. Then we're ready to go again. The good thing about the shark belly is it's tough hide. It's hard for them fish to get that off of there. Where if you're fishing with the squid, it's soft, flexible. Most anything in the ocean will bite squid. And your small fish has a tendency to want to tear it off. But the good thing about the shark belly is tough enough that it's gonna stay with you unless you hang up and lose your bucktail. Okay, I'm using one knot here called the clinch knot, and I use this same tie for everything I do, whether it be a coho bait, bucktail, sassy shad, even tied on a standard flounder rig. All right, what we're gonna do is stick the line right through the eye of the bucktail, and then we're gonna pull it up there like so. All right, then I'm gonna lay my finger right in between the line and wrap it 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, then I'm gonna bend it around, take my finger out, stick the line through the hole. I've got to get a hold of it. I'm going to stick it right back through the hole. I'm going to grab that line. That line is about the same color as this silver thread line. It's hard to see. And we're going to bring it right back through the loops I just made around the line and pull that one string. And then we're going to clinch it right down where it goes. All right, using the silver thread line such as we do, a lot of times when we make this tie, we may have 2 inches of excess line left over. And you can cut that line off if you prefer so. Just take your pocket knife, reach up there and whack it right off. But the line is so much to the color of the hair on the bucktail, it don't make any difference if you leave it hanging. The fish is not going to pay it any attention. It's not going to affect your fish in no way, shape, or form. If the fish is there, they're going to go after it.
Let's join Captain Jimmy Price out on the water. He's got a bucktail rigged and ready to go with a few final tips on fishing it properly.
We're going to take this bucktail with the little strip of shark belly on it. We're going to hop it up and down right here in front of the camera to show you how it looks and works in the water. And that's the way you want to work that thing. When you throw it out, let it sink to the bottom and just picture hopping it back right to the boat, just 4 6-inch hops. And I think what it does, when it goes over that flounder, it resembles a squid, and they come up off the bottom if they're in a feeding mood and they slap it. And when they do, instantly, right then, you set hook. You don't wait with artificial bait like you do with live bait. But what we're going to do now, we're going to throw this bucktail upstream with the tide rising, coming towards us, so we can get this bucktail down on the bottom where it needs to be, and we're going to hop this bucktail about 4 6-inch hops, just like we showed you the bucktail hopping in the water. And then if it happens to cross the path of a hungry flounder, hopefully we can show you how to put him in the boat. So I'm ready to go fishing. Upstream we go. These things is very effective in shallow water, more so than deep water. But every once in a while, we look up on big fish right here up under this bridge. And that's one reason I elected to come to this area, hoping that we could hook up on one of these doormats that you wipe your feet on before you go in the house in the afternoon. But there again, they don't come every day. If they did, then the fishing wouldn't be as much fun. So throw it right back out and work it back to us again, and hopefully we can get supper. There he is, right there. Small fish, small fish. All right, what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring him in head first. Big fish, that's very, very important. Small fish, it ain't that important, but on a bigger fish, you need to net him head first. Very important, putting him in that net, head first. All right, you can see right there, he got that little bucktail in his mouth, just hopping that thing along the bottom. And we're gonna be gentle with him because He's a keeper, just barely. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna release him and let him go. We got a 14-inch flounder there. But we're out here just showing how it's done and how to preserve our fish and our waters. All right, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna release this little fella. He's 14 inches, he's a keeper, but I wanna see him grow up to be a 4 or 5 pounder, then maybe we'll get lucky and catch him again. Catching and releasing to me is very important because I want something down there for my grandyoungins to be able to catch when they get a little bit bigger. We got to preserve our waters, we've got to preserve our fish, or otherwise we ain't gonna have no fish. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna cast right back upstream and work that bottom and see if we can't maybe get lucky and catch one a little bit larger than what we just got.
There are a couple of other artificial baits that Captain Jimmy Price uses to produce flounders as well. Let's go back to the shop and let Captain Jimmy Price show us these effective baits.
Okay, now what we're doing here, we're moving on a little bit further to coho baits and 1/4-ounce lead heads. I prefer a red. A lot of times white will work better, and sometimes in dirty water even yellow will work better. And what we're going to do here is show you this bait. This is what they call a coho minnow. It's got a little spreader feet on the back of it, and coming through the water, that makes that little old tail just quiver and makes that coho bait look like he's alive and swimming right through the water. Now you can take these baits and this 1/4-ounce lead head. The proper way to hook that coho is get the hook over him, come down in him, approximately 3/4 of an inch. Turn him and push him all the way up to the head. It's very important to push him all the way up far as you can get him. And then that bait is hanging down. That's where you're going to get your action from, pulling it through the water. In some cases, I have seen people, I've tuck fishing, hook a bait, and they'll hook it too deep and push it up. And you're going to get it looking like that. I've seen baits that look like that. And when that bait goes through the water, most likely the fish is not going to bother because it don't look natural. So it's very important, run it down there approximately 3/4 of an inch, push it up on the head, and let that tail hang off. That's the proper way. You can cast these baits out, you can slowly retrieve them back to the boat along the bottom, or you can hop them along, such as your bucktails. And these things at a lot of given times will produce good numbers of fish. Okay, there again, we've got what we call a sassy shad, and it's got the club feet as well. Now you'll notice there's a lot of difference in the size of these two baits, but you'll find out a lot of times the sassy shad will outperform the coho minnow. There again, what we want to do, we're going to use a white head this time. I prefer white on the sassy shad more so than red, but the red does a very good job as well. But I'm trying to get this bait to look as natural as possible. And you would think the same thing on the coho. But the red head, I've always had better success on the coho with the red head. The sassy shad, I've done better with the white head. And there again, you run him approximately 1 inch, turn, come out. That way your bait is hanging off, hanging down, tails down, and you get that good action running through the water. This bait is fished the same way the coho baits is fished, and this bait is also fished the same way that your bucktails is fished. You want to hop them 4 or 6 inches off the bottom. Always throw them against the current, so the current's helping and bringing it back to you, so you know that you're down on the bottom where the fish is gonna be. What we've done, we've moved over here to ballhead entrance over here. There's a little rock jetty right here. Sometime we pick up some pretty decent flounders, pretty nice fish right around these rocks. And we use, right now, what we're gonna start out with, we're gonna start out with a coho bait. And if I can get that right there next to the top of the water, just sort of fluttering along a little bit. That's what we're using right there. And the coho Looks like a little mullet minnow swimming through the water. And that's what we're using. We don't put nothing on that. We fish it entirely by itself. We just cast it out, slowly retrieve it back. Every once in a while, hop it up and down along that bottom. And we're going to throw out here towards these rocks. There he is. That's him, right there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
The right equipment used the right way is the only way to guarantee catching fish. Here, Captain Jimmy Price goes over the proper type of rod and reel to use, as well as the proper drag setting.
All right, what we got here, we've got a little old Shimano rod, Air Glass, and an Air Star Shimano reel. All right, if you'll notice here, you can take this little old 6-10 pound class rod, Shimano, and you can put all kinds of pressure on that thing. You can just bend it double. That's the fun of fishing light tackle. If you get a good sized fish on there, you stumble up on a 4, 5, 6 pound fish, 8 or 10 pound fish, you got your hands full. But there again, we use light tackle because we fish heavy structure. We lose a fish occasionally, but we catch a whole lot more than we lose. And with that light tackle, you ain't gonna horse him to the boat. You gotta bring him in, you got to wait till that fish gets tired, wear him down, and in heavy structure, occasionally you're gonna have one to run around a pilot. That 6 pound line, I don't care if it's 25 pound line. If it ever hits them oyster shells, it's gone anyway. So if you already know that, why use the heavier tackle? Why not stay with the light tackle? Because that light tackle is a lot more fun to fish than your heavy tackle. We've got 6 pound tests on this Shimano reel. So therefore you got to keep in mind you want 1/3 the breaking strength of whatever that line might be. If you've got 6 pound tests, you want like a 2 pound in pull. If you've got 10 pound tests, then you will want like 3.5 pound in pull. If you'll always set your line, your drag, and your line to 1/3 the breaking strength of the line itself, therefore a fish is not going to break it. Now he might run around with you a little while, and he might have his little fun, but you're going to have your fun too. Because there again on light tackle, you got a 2 pound pull and 6 pound line, you're going to get all the fight out of that fish, no question about it, because you can't horse him to the boat, and that's what makes fishing such a sport.
So far, Captain Jimmy Price has showed us his personal favorite artificial baits for catching flounders. It's time now to switch to live bait.
What we're doing here, we're waiting on this flounder to take this bait. He's got it now. Well, we got to wait on him for him to scale it. Because a flounder, he'll clean his prey before he'll eat him. What he'll do, he'll inhale him, and then he'll turn him in his mouth and he'll go to scaling him, and he'll take every scale on that mullet minnow off before he'll ever take that bait, before he'll ever swallow it down into his stomach. And that's why a lot of people get a lot of flounder bites and they miss the fish because they don't know this. They get that bite, they have a tendency they want to jerk right then. But when you do that, a lot of times that flounder's got his mouth open and you'll jerk that bait right out of his mouth. Now I'm pausing here because this flounder act like he's wanting to move a little bit on me. And he doesn't move one time, so if he moves again, I'm gonna set hook on him. But you gotta give him time to scale that minnow because he'll take every scale on that minnow off before he'll eat that bait. He's still there. I can feel the tension on him. I ain't gonna give him too long. I'm using a fairly small mullet minnow here, but I'm gonna give him another 10, 15 seconds anyway. Normally when one hits, depends on the size bait, we're using mullet, about 4 or 5 inch little mullet, finger mullet here. And normally when one hits, you gotta give him approximately 30 seconds to a good minute, depending on what kind of feeding mood they're in. I've seen times when you could give them 3 minutes and it wasn't long enough because they just play with the bait. And the last 2 we've had to bite here seem like that's what they was doing. I'm just hoping this one will go ahead and take it so we can put him in the boat. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up on him and set the hook here and see what we can do. Got my net on the other end of the boat, but that's normally the way it works when you hook up on a fish. Well, we got this one right now. I'm gonna get him over here on the other side of the boat, Bill, so I can get the net under him. He don't feel that big, but he feels decent. Well, little fella, what we done just scooped him up head first. We was hoping for a bigger fish, but sometimes you gotta take what you can get. He's a keeper. Now he got that hook down in there just like I anticipate. If you'll notice, right there's 2 teeth marks right there where my fingernail is. And if you'll notice, there's no scales on that minnow. He scales that minnow before he eats him. There's no scales on either side. The scales is gone. And that's why you got to give that flounder time to take that bait. I'm gonna have to get my hook getters and get this one out. If you'll notice, he's had that minnow right down in his mouth. This is the best thing in the world for getting the hook out, because you can reach right down in there and reverse that hook, pull it right out of there. These things right here are stainless steel. Now they make them galvanized, but I recommend stainless steel. I've had these on my boat for probably 6, 7 years, and they just keep right on going. You can leave them laying in salt water overnight or all week long, it don't matter. That stainless steel will stay with you. You save money by buying good products. All right, what I'm doing here, I just had a break off. I don't know if it was a bluefish or what it was. We had a break off, so I just tied on another flounder rig. You notice all we got is a burl swivel. All right, we run 25-pound tests. We put a little sleeve on our line right here with a couple of beads, and that stops that weight about halfway. So that way that weight can slide backwards and forth. So when that flounder hits it, he's got that little foot margin there that he can move around without feeling that weight, dragging that weight around. And then we'll come right on down to the bottom down here, and what we do, we put on a little snap-on hook, and that's what we fasten our hook on to. And what we're fixing to do here now is put another hook on here and drop another live bait right out the other side of the boat here. I'm gonna reach right back here behind me and get a hook to go on there in a minute, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, if you'll notice, what we got here is a little old small flounder hook. That's a number 4, style 42 eagle claw, wide bend. What we're gonna do, we're gonna snap this hook right on this snap rig right here. This little flounder rig, snap it in. Then we're gonna take the mullet minnow, and we're gonna hook him about 1/4 inch under his lip there, pretty deep. We're gonna come out right up there, right between his eyes. Now if you'll notice, we've got that minnow hooked deep. We got our bait on there. We're gonna throw it right up here, up under the edge of the pier, up by the pilings, and work it back to the boat, and hopefully we can pick up a flounder. And that's called live bait fishing for mullet minnows. These moving on me again. All right, I got him on right here, Bill. I got him on. I'm gonna try to bring him head first into the net, the proper way to land the fish. Right here, just bring him in there head first. Table food, table food. All right, he swallowed that hook too. Oh, he just spit it out. That's exactly what we wanted him to do. That way we can use that same minnow and go right back and get another one. Didn't even hurt our bait. Next one hit, we might not have to wait as long. The bait's already scaled. Oh, wait just a minute. Golly, did you see that? Took it, oh, that was a bluefish. All right, what happened there? We had a bluefish to hit it. See how I cut him in a half moon? When you get that, that's a bluefish. Might as well just take the bait away from him unless you want to catch bluefish and put you another bait on and go back to flounder fishing. Old bluefish, he'll cut that mullet minnow in a half moon. Puppy drum, he'll scale his bait, but there won't be no teeth marks in it. A flounder, he'll scale his minnow and there'll be 2 teeth marks like a little snake bite. A speckled trout, he'll scale his minnow and there'll be 1 tooth mark in it. We got some action right here on this rod again. Nope, ever what it was, decided not to eat.
Learning the proper techniques to catch flounder is only part of it. Being able to locate flounder is most important. Here, Captain Jimmy Price explains where the flounder can be located.
Okay, one thing you might want to keep in mind when you're out flounder fishing, flounder likes all kinds of bottoms. You can go out drifting for flounder in most of your inlets and a lot of your creeks right down the middle of the channel or right across some little sandbars or whatever and produce fish real well. But also keep in mind, if you're ever fishing a flounder tournament of any kind, if you'll get around where you've got heavy structure, such as rock piles, pilings, sunken boats, wrecks, shipwrecks, stuff like that, you'll find that in your heavy structure, you're going to lose a lot of tackle. But in your heavy structure, it's where you're going to have a lot of bait fish because they've got a good place to hide. And these big flounder, when it comes to winning a tournament, know that, and they hang out in these areas. And if you want to catch big doormat flounders, you may not get but 1 that day, or 2 or 3 if you're lucky, but a winning fish in a tournament is going to hang out around heavy structure. We've had tournaments in the past. We've had our 6th annual. Our 7th will be coming up next September. Always follows Labor Day weekend, the following weekend. And every big fish that has won a tournament in our tournament is caught where people lose his tackle, just oodles of tackle. Had one guy, for instance, came in, bought 3 dozen flounder rigs that morning. We checked them out at 8 o'clock and let them go. We rode over to the Cape Fear, over there to the old quarantine station. There's a lot of heavy debris down there. Broken concrete, all kinds of metal, cable, all kinds of stuff. Part of the structure that has deteriorated in the years and laying right down on that bottom. I couldn't leave my checkout point till 9 o'clock that morning. We let him go at 8. At 9 o'clock when I arrived there, he was out of flounder rigs. He'd lost 3 dozen flounder rigs in an hour's time. I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but make sure you got plenty on the boat if you're fishing heavy structure in a tournament, because here this man was with no tackle and fishing a flounder tournament. He had to come back in to get him some tackle so he could go right back out. But in heavy structure, that's where our fish, big doormat flounders come from. Keep in mind, ledges, humps on the bottom. If you're riding along, you got your depth finder on, you run up on a little hump. If you've got a rising tide and you run up on a hump and you pick it up on your depth finder, if the tide is coming in, get on the back side of that bar, on the back side. That's where you want to fish, right down at the bottom of that hump down there where it meets the bottom of the floor level. And that's where you want to fish, because these flounder lay on the back side of your humps, on the back side of little ledges and stuff like that, waiting for that bait to come over. When that bait comes over, he comes up, gets it, lays right back down. That you might want to keep in mind. Anytime you see a little tide rip, you know there's something there causing that tide rip. Some kind of little oyster rock or a sandbar or something. If you're on a rising tide, fish the backside. Always fish opposite, because that flounder always lays facing the current, because the bait's coming his way. He wants to see that bait when it approaches him, so therefore he'll always lay facing that current. So if the tide's rising, get on the backside of it, fish it. All right, what you're gonna find out is when the tide peaks out to a high, the fish gonna quit biting. Then the tide's gonna change and the water's going in the opposite direction. You're sitting there and you're not catching fish no more. You think, well, they've gone. Yeah, they have gone. What they've done, they've picked up and they moved right around to the other side of that bar. They're laying right there. So you don't necessarily got to crank up and go home. Just get on the other side of that bar, because the tide has changed, because they're laying there facing the current, waiting on that bait to come over. So if you fish tidal creeks, humps, shipwrecks, piers, piling structure, that's where you're gonna find fish. Now you may get more fish drifting in an inlet, but if you want big fish, keep in mind heavy structure and you're gonna catch big fish. You may have to sit there 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, but be patient, sit there, ride it out, use big baits in a tournament, fish heavy structure, you're gonna catch big fish. If you catch fish, you're gonna catch big fish. Oh. Curiosity's got the best of me. I think I'm gonna try it. Hope I got a good hook on him. I don't like to hit them running. I gotta get a hold of my net. That's a flounder, I saw him. A little fella. There you go. That's why you need to go head first to him. Strong little fella. Well, there we go. Good eating size, good eating size, about 15, 16 inches. Well, we'll put him in the box.
Live bait rods and reels are different from the ones used for artificial baits. Captain Jimmy Price shows us the difference.
Okay, if you'll notice right here, when it comes to live bait, we use a little bit stiffer rod. But there again, this is a light rod as well. Now this rod here is a 8 to 15 pound class. It's a Fenwick rod, 5.5 foot, 8 to 15 pound class. And what we do, we set up this reel with like 8-pound silver thread. When we're fishing the artificial baits, we're using 6-pound tests. But you notice we've got a flounder rig on here, which I made myself. Make it out of 20-pound test line, monofilament. Use a sliding egg sinker. Preferably, depending on your depth of your water, you might want to go as small a weight as you can get by with and keep that bait down. You might, if you're in shallow water, 2-3 foot deep, you might want to use as little as 1/4 or 1/2 ounce weight. If you're in deeper water, you get out, say, 6-10 foot deep, you might want to go with like a 3/4 or a 1 ounce weight. And if you get out in your deeper channel where the water might be 20 plus feet deep, then you might have to go with 1 ounce or 1.5 ounces. 1 ounce may not hold it. You may have to go to 1.5 ounces to keep it down on the bottom. But a lot of times you'll find that you might be running along a little ledge, in that shallow water, that small one's working fine. But if you move out to that ledge where she drops off on that ledge, you may have to kick that weight up a little bit bigger, maybe change the rigs so you can keep that bait down on the bottom. Because a flounder is a bottom feeder. He lays on the bottom at all times. He'll get up, when he gets up to move, he won't get over, most cases he'll just skim the bottom down there within 4, 5, or 6 inches. He'll move from one feeding ground to the next. Normally, if you locate the fish, the flounder, normally you can catch fish there for 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 days in a row if you're lucky. But then after they've eaten the food up there, then what they're going to do, they're going to get up, they're going to move downstream or upstream to another feeding ground. So therefore, you've got to fish on pretty regular basis if you get a chance, or either when you approach a tackle store and you're down for the weekend, if you're from out of town or whatever the case might be, you might want to stop by your local tackle store and ask you, man that's out there every day, you know, well, where's the fish being caught now? And if you're lucky, he'll tell you. But right here, we've got 10-pound test line on this reel. This is a pin, 4300. And if you'll notice, we've got 8, we run 8, in some cases 10-pound tests. If we're running 8, we want about a 2.5, 3-pound pull. So there again, you've got to set your drag according to your reel. And keep in mind, Fenwick, in most cases, are a little bit on the expensive side, but Fenwick makes a rod that just a least little tap, and you can feel it all the way through that whole rod. I used to use other brand rods, and I caught fish, but I moved up to a Fenwick rod, which I like very well, pin reel, and I find out that I produce more fish because the sensitivity of a Fenwick rod has the sensitivity there that a lot of your rods don't have. We'll give him another minute here with the bait. See, he's holding on there pretty good. I felt him slap it one time. So what I'm doing now, I'm giving him time to scale that minnow, take that bait. What we got here, we got a little Worcester rock and sandbar lays right in here behind us. And we got a little drop off. We got a rising tide. What we're trying to do, we can't get to the back side of that sandbar. So what we're trying to do is catch these fish when they approach this bar and get them before they go up and over it. Right up there along that pier, we probably got 7, 8 foot of water. And right back here behind us, we got 2 foot of water where we're anchored up. There he is. Small fish, so ain't much there. I seen him hit earlier, but saved me the trouble of having to take him off. He just threw the bait right out. That's good. All right, see those spots right there on that flounder's back? All right, they have a tendency to camouflage themselves. If they lay it on a black mud bottom, they'll turn plumb black in color. But this is laid on a little oyster shell rock that lays right in there up under the edge of that pier. That's why he's spotted in color. So, depends on the tight bottom they lay on, color they'll turn. If they're laid on an oyster rock, they'll get spotted in color. If they're laid on a mud bottom, they'll get black in color. If they're laid on a sandy bottom, then they'll get light brown in color. And they'll just fit right in with that bottom. If you ever go flounder gigging at night, out there trying to flounder gig, you'll see that. Because till your eyes get adjusted to what you're looking for, they're gonna look just like that bottom laying there. You really gotta have an eye for it to see them. We're gonna put him in the box and eat him for supper. What we've done here, we've stopped off on our way in for a few minutes right here at C.B. Caroon's old crab dock. They just got through dumping out a barrel of crab legs there. You can see them floating downstream. And sometimes you can pull in here and catch some real nice fish. But what we're fighting right now is a strong northeast wind blowing about 15 miles an hour. It seems to be getting a little bit stronger. So it looks like we're going to end up calling it a short fishing day, and we're going to spend a few minutes right here, then we're going to head on in. We've caught a few fish, nothing big, but the general idea is fishing a little live bait, a little artificial bait, and show you 2 or 3 different ways how you can catch them and what you can catch them on. And I figure with that tub of crab throat out there, we might stumble up on something coming in here to feed. So we're going to give it a few minutes and we're going to head on into the hill, because we're going to show you, before the day is over, we're going to show you how to properly clean and fillet and your fish and put it up in the freezer for future eating down the road. There again, we just got in from fishing, got a strong northeast blowing. We didn't have as good a luck as I'd like to have, but we caught a few fish. All right, so we're coming down to an end here, so we're going to show you a few flounder, and we'll show you there again what kind of baits we use catching these fish, and how they work, and the type of structures and so on you look for, and the type rods, reels, and lines. And we mainly fish artificial baits, but of course we fish a little live bait as well. Sometimes you'll find the live bait may work better than the artificial. Then again, you'll find out if you've got the patience to throw that artificial bait, sometimes artificial bait will work when the live bait won't even work. So we just got in from fishing. We got a strong northeast wind blowing about 15 miles an hour today. You can probably see the trees back in the background behind me here, the leaves blowing on them. So it got so tough and so bad that fishing was a little bit uneasy, so we decided to come in and clean a fish and show you how to get one ready, prepared, put up in the freezer for later on use, in case you got company or whatever coming over for supper. So what we're gonna do, we didn't do all that well. We picked up a few fish here, as well as you can see in the box there. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull one of these fish out of here. We're gonna lay him right here on this box, turn that box right around where I got a little bit more room. And we're gonna take this scaler. A lot of people use electric scaler, and electric scaler is good to work with, but we ain't gonna clean a bunch of fish. We're just gonna clean the fish to show you the proper way to clean him and put him up. It ain't gonna take but a minute here to scale him, and we'll have him ready to lay out here for supper. Flipping right over here, lay this white side. Now, I've seen people in the past clean flounder, lay the dark side off and throw the white side away. But that white side is just as good as that dark side. All right, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna take the hose out of the bucket, wash the scales off this flounder. We don't want no scales in our meat. Gonna flip him right over and wash both sides, get the scales out of the way. Now he's ready for filleting out. All right, what we're gonna do here, we're just gonna go right in behind that little gill and we're just gonna cut him. All right, we're just gonna fillet him right open, just like that right there. We're gonna flip him right over on the white side, do the same thing. What we're gonna do, we're gonna follow this lateral line right down through here on that flounder's back, and we're just gonna go right down that backbone. Then we're gonna reach right there, and let that knife blade slowly run down that bone, pick up the meat. All right, we're gonna run right down there, and we're just gonna ride that bone all the way down. And we're gonna turn him right around, lay that meat over there, and there you have a pretty fillet, which we'll stick right here in the bucket of water, rinse the blood and all off of it, and there you go. All right, that's the white side of the flounder. Very delicate, very good. All right, what you do is just take him, batter him in a little cornmeal, drop him in a little pot of hot grease. Just as soon as that fish floats to the top, you're ready for supper. All right, we're gonna hold his tail right there and work this other side. It takes a good sharp knife. If your knife ain't real good and sharp, you could very well lose some meat. Got a little bone right there I just slipped up on. Wet that off, turn him right around here. There's another piece. We're gonna flip him right over to the other side. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna run down that backbone. All right, we're just gonna stick that knife blade down there and ride that bone. Lift it up with your finger. I've seen a lot of people take a flounder and they'll cut his head off before they ever fillet him out. I used to do that years ago. I seen a fella clean some one time that taught me a lesson. If you leave that head on there, it gives you something to hold on to. Stick that knife through there, come right out there, turn him right around. And there you go. Now if you'll notice, on that fish, you can just about see through it. There's no wasted meat. This time if you got a good sharp knife, you can fillet that fish out, and you've got no wasted meat. All you got's a carcass. All right, what we're gonna do, we're gonna throw him right over here to the side. There again, I'm gonna take the hose, rinse the cooler off. I've got a bucket of water sitting here beside of me. We're gonna reach right in here, pull that meat right out of there. And there again, you can see we've got 4 nice fillets. And we're ready for supper. Very delicate food right there, known worldwide. I like to trout, flounder fish, and fish for red drum, but my favorite food naturally is flounder. I'm gonna drop them right here in this bucket of water. And the best way to put these up, you take like a pint, quart-size Ziploc heavy baggie, and you can drop these fillets into a Ziploc bag, fill it with water, cover your fish, zip it up, put it in the freezer. That fish can lay there 6 months or a year till you get ready for it, till you get hungry, and when you thaw it out, it's just like it was freshly caught. And the thing I like about freezing them in water, they don't get freezer burn and they don't go to the bad. We've took fish out of the freezer before that might be dated 3, 4 years back, because we put the dates on every carton we put up or every pack we put up. And sometimes we'll take fish out of the freezer that might be a couple, 2, 3 years old. They taste just like this freshly caught.
Our time's just about gone, but before we go, Captain Jimmy Price would like to give some final words of wisdom on selecting the proper artificial bait.
All right, if you'll notice, I've got little old plastic trays here that you can buy from your local tackle stores. They're real good for displaying your baits. Now, I do guide fishing. I carry people out all the time, so therefore I like to keep my baits separated. And the reason for separating my baits, if you let this bait and this bait lay together for a long period of time, the colors will bleed through. So therefore I like to keep my baits separated, and that's why I keep them in a tray like that. And we've got right here, we've got the coho minnows, looks like a little mullet minnow. We've got sassy shads, and at some point in times, the fish will be feeding on your darker colors. We'll go to pearl with a red back. Sometimes we'll use a solid pearl. If one bait don't work, that don't mean that there ain't no fish there. Sometimes it's just a matter of changing up baits, changing your colors. Try one thing, if it don't work, go to something else. Because if you'll try different baits, I've had times that I go through 4 or 5 different colors of bait. And then the next color I pick up just may be the key number. And what I have found in the past, I have had people out on some of my guide trips, and we'll be in a hole that a particular color is working after we've gone through 4 or 5 baits. We accidentally hit one color and bingo, it happens. And when it does, and I've got my customers catching fish, I'll turn right around just out of curiosity, and I'll put on some of the other colors that we was using earlier, and they're not working. Whatever that fish has got on his mind to eat that day, that's the color and the type baits he's gonna go after. We're coming to an end here. Our time's running out. We've got to go. We've went out, we've caught a few fish on artificial baits. We've had a good time. Our weather conditions weren't exactly what we was looking for, but we caught fish, we had a ball. I would like to thank you for watching this video and let you know that I appreciate it. And to have a good time, if you get a chance and get a little break, go fishing.
We certainly hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or would like to go fishing with Captain Jimmy Price, you can get in touch with him at area code 910-457-9903. Or you can write to him at Post Office Box 212, Long Beach, North Carolina, 28465.